We have with us this evening 2 of the 3 candidates for the 2 seats on the Board of Directors, Clarence Sonny Grant and Stephen Rocky. The candidates have drawn for order of statements, and Mr. Rocky will begin. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to also thank the League of Women Voters for hosting the forum. My background, I'm a longtime Oroville resident, moved here in 1963, went through school, went to UC Davis, undergrad at UC Berkeley optometry, and moved back here in 1981. Had a private practice for the 37 years in town here. Marriage of 40 years and 4 children between 29 and 35 years old, all born and raised here in Oroville. So I have deep ties to the community. We've used a lot of the facilities over the years, and I'm just looking forward to making this district even better, looking at ways of growing the district in a fiscally sound way. I think I'll save anything else for later. Thank you.
It's on. No, it's on.
It's on.
My name is Sonny Grant. I graduated from Oroville High School in 1956. In 1966, I graduated from Cal State Sacramento with a business administration degree, also with 4 children. In 1967, I left my position as the assistant hospital administrator for Merced General Hospital to become the assistant administrator for the Feather River Recreation and Park District. I served 13 years for the district, 3 as an assistant and 10 as the administrator to the district. During that time, we expanded Table Mountain Golf Course from a 9-hole course to an 18-hole course. We built Harrison Football Track Stadium and hosted the state high school track meet here in Oroville. We built Nelson Softball Complex. In 1980, I resigned my position to become managing partner of Oro West Racket and Health Club. Oro West had 10 tennis courts, 4 racquetball courts, jacuzzi, sauna, weight room, aquasize classes, aerobic classes. We had a pro shop, a bar, a restaurant, and child care. In 2004, we sold the club. I served on the board as a representative in the negotiations for relicensing the dam, and I served on the supplemental benefit board. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Lisa Johnson is here for the Oroville Mercury Register. Is it still Mercury Register? Yes. That will ask our first question. As I indicated, each question will also have a 2-minute response. For the responses, we will start with Mr. Brandt.
Mr. Brandt, what are some of the first things that you would like to push forward if elected?
Being the head of the state water project, I think our swimming pool situations for this area are not adequate, and I think work needs to be done there. I support trails very much, trails for hikers, runners, bikers, equestrians, and handicapped. I feel like we should have a hard-faced walking surface from River Bend to the spillway.
Mr. Rocky.
I think finishing the Riverbend project is the highest priority, making sure that's accomplished. I'd like to see more programs at a facility like we have right here, and making better use of this facility. I think that would be a nice growth industry for the district to be able to fund the other needs of the district. The equestrian hiking trails would be nice to have those improved. My wife rides pretty regularly, and she's just very complimentary about the trails that we do have, but would like to have more of them. I think that's enough on that.
Thank you. Given the large investment in the Riverbend Park, how would you define success?
Define success. Well, completion of the project as described, I really would like to have the amphitheater be a top quality amphitheater, to be able to have a wide variety of events. I think that would be a very nice income generator for the district, to be able to host weddings of substantial size, concerts, different things like that. And other than the extra projects, the different programs at the facility here, would really like to see an aquatic center. I think that would be something that would be a very positive thing for the district. Thank you.
Mr. Brand?
Riverbend is really a unique area that we have along the Feather River, and we're just blessed by that river. The Recreation District actually has property on the Thermalito side of the river, and that could be developed. The park can grow. All the space down there isn't encompassed in the plans that are currently available for growing it. I think Orville just has to take advantage of the river, and there's unlimited things that can be done there. Maybe eventually we can get back to the wildlife area from there. Maybe we can get a walking bridge across the Highway 70 bridge, so people can walk across the river to Thermalito in the south part of Orville. Thank you.
Orville is a small and often interconnected community. How would you maintain integrity in board decision-making for the entire public good?
Well, again, this district is over 700 square miles, and taxpayers in the community all around have the same tax rate, whether they're in Orville or in the outlying areas. So it has been the district's practice in the past to work with communities and groups to provide recreation in all the areas of the district. And that needs to be topmost in our mind. Thank you.
Mr. Norman?
The district has a number of facilities in different locations, and it's important to maintain those, and when possible, looking to improve or add in other ones. I don't know how much population growth we're going to have. I'm expecting that we will have some, if not substantial, population growth over the next 10 years. It's a very desirable community to live in, and I think that Orville's assets will become better known. And I think that as you have an expanding tax base, you'll be able to have more money going into new facilities.
Oroville Spillway incident caused the loss of many bike trails. The district's Master Plan 2020 has a goal to support the development of an extensive, interconnected, multi-use trail system for Oroville. What time frame do you see for developing this trail system, and what would you consider being a priority compared to other priorities? Mr. Murphy.
Time frame, I think that the multi-use trails should probably be done about 2012. No, as soon as possible. I think as soon as they finish their work up on the dam, that we'll be able to get that relicensing done, and then be able to get the trails used to their fullest. As I said before, my wife does some riding on the trails, horseback riding, and has never had any issues with hikers or bikers. I think multi-use is a very safe way to go if we have enough space for everybody.
Mr. Brandt.
I think space is unlimited. We have that borrow area. We have PG&E right-of-ways. We have the shoreline of the lake. My goodness, we have ample places for trails. We just need to get the different users to cooperate, and we need to push as hard as we can. You get your best bang for your buck in recreation by developing trails. And that's what we want, right? Recreation and best bang for our buck.
Our next question will be from the media. Addressed first to Mr. Brandt.
All right. Mr. Brandt, what do you think about the idea of the district managing an aquatic center? And can you discuss the financials of that?
The state, when they built the dam, they took away our free swimming hole. They can't replace it. They owe it to us, but they can't. I visited the Minden Water Center. It's perfect. We need it. Their operating budget is close to $3 million. They raised $70,000. So they have over $2 million to come from the tax base. In order to really support a real water center, it takes tremendous tax money, and that would have to be done through a bond act or something of that nature. You can't, if the state even provided the money to build a huge center, we still couldn't probably afford it here without operating money.
Mr. Rocky.
I support pursuing the idea of an aquatic center, but not at the financial risk of the district. So it would have to be in stages, sort of a pay-as-you-go program in construction, or grant funding, or something with the relicensing agreement to be able to do that. It is something that would be important and well used, I believe, by the district. But it's a matter of, do you get naming rights for various things? Do you get grants? Do you get help from other agencies, as well as increasing tax base?
We have a question from the audience to please address finance and budget for the district. Mr. Rocky.
Address finance and budget. Pretty wide topic.
Yes.
The budget, the finances are based on the tax rate of the district and what else comes in through programs. The budget can be improved by adding more programs, especially at this facility. I think we're looking at being able to add in a greater variety of programs to get more generation of revenue. The budget is intended to be balanced, and depending on when you get your tax payments and when you get your influx of events, like the gymnastics center, they have a few events that are high generation of income, but they're not spread out evenly during the year. So there'll be some times where you may be a little bit under, sometimes you'll be over. But I think from what I've seen, the finances are in decent shape.
Mr. Brand.
I haven't been involved with the district's budget in the last 10 or 15 years. So I don't have anything specific to say about it right now. I intend to find that out if I get elected to the board. And the recreation programs basically are designed for the people of the area who are paying the taxes. And they're not designed as money-making programs. There are some facilities and some things you can provide that do provide income. But basically, public recreation is a industry that works on taxpayers' money to give recreation to their members, not to collect money from them for fees.
A large percentage of district residents are at or below the poverty line. What vision do you have for providing recreational programs and the transportation for residents that cannot afford fee-based programs? Mr. Green.
I don't have a transportation plan. I know that the youth in the Thermalito side of Orville is expanding faster than the youth in the Orville side of the river. Makes me think we should have programs in Thermalito. You want programs that children could get to on bicycles and walking. That takes care of a lot of the transportation.
Mr. Rocky.
The number of facilities that we have that are of no or minimal cost is fairly significant. I think there's lots of opportunities for people of any income level to participate in the programs or into visiting the sites, the parks, the trails, all of that. So I think we're in good shape with the way our district facilities are spread out around the Orville area.
Question from the media.
Do you have ideas for future projects that could possibly be funded by the Supplemental Benefits Fund or the SBF?
The Aquatic Center is one that comes to mind as a prime target for SBF funds. I don't know the fine print on the SBF contracts or agreements at this point. So when we see what those numbers are and how they fit into improving the district, there would quite likely be other things that would come up. I'm assuming that the trails that we were talking about would be things that would be already included, that would not require extra requests for funds. But if we end up looking at doing different expansions, like further south along the river, that those areas would be good, or a way to cross the river easily, which would tie the Thermally to Oroville together better, would be a very reasonable thing to look at in that funding.
Mr. Brandt.
I was involved in the negotiations that set up the supplemental benefit fund. And it requires that they provide $50 million if it's a 50-year contract, $1 million a year. And if it's a 30-year relicensing, it's $30 million that they would provide at $1 million a year. And that funding, again, you have to look at it in order, if you build things that you can't maintain or you can't afford, it doesn't do any good to build them. But as Steve suggested, a bridge across the Feather River fits right into the purpose of the Supplemental Benefit Fund. So would trails along the Feather River, and so would a hard-faced trail to the base of Oroville Dam. So there's wonderful opportunities to use that money and use it in a productive, responsible way.
Question from the audience. Do you believe in the district's ability to make these activity centers sustainable? Mr. Brandt.
Well, as best you can, I guess. And I say I guess. Again, you want to provide programs for your people that they can afford to come to. It shouldn't be a social club or something that's outlandish and prevents most of your citizens from using the program. So it's questionable in my mind until I get to the budget and see what the incomes and what the fees are. I don't really want to make an opinion on that.
Mr. Rocky.
I think that the district is in good financial shape with the activity center here, especially if we're able to improve or add in some extra programs. The bigger addition to the funding, again, go back to the special event center, doing concerts, weddings, that sort of thing, which would be something that would add in significant revenue without it coming from the individual users of the facility.
Another question from the audience. What role should the district take regarding homelessness at parks or other district facilities? Mr. Rocky.
That's a tough issue. We have to try to minimize the damage done to the district facilities. I think we've done a very good job this last 6 months in reducing the amount of vandalism, being able to protect the property more. As far as homelessness by itself, I don't think the district by itself can do a lot. I think we have to work in conjunction with the new city programs that are in the works, and trying to arrange or be involved in usage of surplus property to be able to serve as a potential site. But it's mostly protecting the property, making sure we don't have the vandalism, the destruction, and being able to have a safe environment for the people to use. I think the majority of the people need to have the comfort of the safety of being able to go to whatever park they want whenever it's open.
Mr. Brandt?
One of the things the district might have is property that could be utilized in some way. But basically, we have to work with other agencies. Our responsibility is to provide parks and recreation. And that's a little different than housing. And we have to keep our parks clean. And if homeless people are living there, we're not going to have a clean park. So we can't have them living there, but we have to make arrangements to get the park clean when they leave the park. We have operating hours, I think, in some of our parks, or Riverbend, I know there is. And I would say we just have to work with other agencies and do what we can. But if we have usable property that could be coordinated with another agency that would provide some kind of facilities for them, fine. If there's anything we can do, we want to help.
Another question from the audience. Where would you prefer to see a new swim facility, and should DWR pay for it? Mr. Brandt?
Well, if it was a new facility, I would like to have a real understanding of the community's commitment to it. And if it's going to be a large swimming facility, it's going to have a large budget. I don't know. I think that's where the rub comes in. We've got to be able to maintain and operate whatever's built. Certainly, the state water contractors owe that. We're the head of this state of California's water project, and we don't have a wonderful swimming pool. We don't have. In Motion Fitness has a much better swimming pool than we have in Chico. That's a crime. So something has to be done there.
Mr. Rocky?
I think the best location for it would be at the site here. I think the ability to have it grow incrementally would be much easier to do here. The pay-as-you-go approach, or funding it as you go, hopefully with substantial help from DWR or some agency, that would be the way to go. But again, it's not something where you do the giant built-out facility all at once, unless you have a sugar daddy that funds it. But the pay-as-you-go approach would be the best way to go, and this would be the best location to do that.
How should the district communicate with residents to include them in the planning decisions and hear their ideas for possible improvements? Mr. Rocky?
I think we're working on, or we have improved the website contact there. I think people are using that for information. I know that programs are advertised in circulars and at various locations, schools, that type of area. I don't think there's any secrets on things, and it's just representative of, or to be able to communicate to the public through those forums would be the best way to go. I don't know, we don't need heavy TV advertising. Again, depending on what the costs are, who you can associate with, being able to tie in with things like the Salmon Festival, which we just had, was a great way to get communication out about the district and its opportunities without having a significant extra cost to the district itself. So those sort of partnerships would be the way to get out to and communicate to a number of people that don't know about it.
Mr. Brandt.
Well, I think communication through the paper, the newspaper is very good. I'm kind of old-fashioned, I'm not so much on the internet, but I'm sure that's out there and that's extremely important. But I go back to the old-fashioned newspaper, and there are quite a few people in Orville that do that. So that's one way. The schools is another way. This district was formed by the Orville Elementary School District and the City of Orville hiring a recreation director. He taught me the pole vault, and he taught me archery. And that was before there was a district. And then they formed a district from that. So the schools is an important way to communicate, particularly with the youth. You've got a captive audience there. And so you really need to do a job in the schools. Thank you.
The district has a stated goal to work with the school districts to provide recreational facilities and programs for the community. How would you facilitate that cooperation? Mr. Brandt.
By communicating with them, by using their facilities, by designing programs that use their facilities. School facilities are vacant for a lot of the year. They sit there vacant. So promote dual use of facilities. And where the district has facilities that the school could use, promote the school's use of them.
Mr. Rocky.
Just forming the good relationships with the individual school principals, most likely, through the district superintendents, but quite often it's the principals that would be the one that you'd contact and be able to coordinate the programs as well as possible.
Next question from the media, please. Please.
Do you have any thoughts on the possibility of the park district taking over city parks?
Mr. Rocky, please.
That would depend on negotiations with the city. I know they're understaffed right now. If there are areas that we can incorporate without significant extra cost, or we can coordinate them doing security, we do management of, cleanup of facilities, I think that would be a good working relationship.
Mr. Brandt.
The city has a street and park department. They have street trees, but where they have parks, it is kind of confusing. The Recreation District has parks in the city of Orville, and the Feather River Recreation District and the city both have parks, so people get confused. It would be beneficial to have them under one agency, but certainly if we took the responsibility from the city, the income to take care of that or the expense of taking care of that would have to be borne by the city. If there's time, can I make a rebuttal on the previous question? I just feel that it's really too soon to pick a location for an aquatic facility until we have one designed and one in mind that we plan to build. But in keeping with the supplemental benefit fund, projects adjacent to the river have more priority. And I would certainly think that Riverbend, or the areas around Riverbend, give a greater possibility than Mitchell Avenue.
Another question from the audience. The district used to sponsor family game night at the municipal auditorium. Could this be revived? Mr. Brandt.
Well, I'm sure it could. Any program that you really promote and that people enjoy can be successful. So I'm sure game night could be. I wasn't there when they did game night. They had bridge parties and they had handicap parties, and we had all kinds of activities in the auditorium. But certainly I think that could be revived.
Mr. Rocky.
I'm not familiar with that at all. It doesn't sound like it'd be something that would be out of line now.
What criteria would you use to determine how resources, space, equipment, and personnel should be allocated to all the programs offered by the district? Mr. Rocky.
Well, that's going through the whole budget maintenance facility process. I think you have to have a range of activities, a range of programs, and having the ability to have such a variety of different facilities like we have here allows that to occur. I think we have a nice range of things, and then if we are able to add more, then so much the better.
To add additional programs, you need to do a cost-benefit analysis and determine what the cost is and the hours of participation that you're going to get from it. So you know what the value is.
Question from our audience. Do you support the trail under the Green Bridge, and should the district ask for SBF for funding? Mr. Brandt.
Hooray, yes, 100,000%. I mean, I use the trails. I use the trails all around. And I've got to say that that's the biggest asset we have. With a reservoir, it's a reservoir. They take water out of it. It's for flood control. They don't want to fill it. That limits the value. And a lot of the value is out in the lake where people that aren't even in Orville enjoy it. So for the residents, if you have a trail, the residents can use it. But make it so the handicapped can use it. The poor can use it. The homeless can use it. Hopefully they don't camp there.
Mr. Rocky.
Without a doubt, that needs to be completed. You know, it's one of the top priorities. It just has to get done.
Again, from the audience, have either of you been to the aquatic center in Yuba City next to the fairgrounds? Any reactions? Mr. Rocky.
I have not.
Mr. Brandt.
I'm so sad I have not.
A question from the audience. Lisa, thank you so much.
Can you tell us about any specific ideas you have for new ways to generate revenue, and then also if you see any places where the district could cut costs?
Mr. Brandt.
No, that's what I want to get to with that finance officer with, and look at the district budget and see if there are places that we can save money. I don't know that there are. So I'm not looking to cut any programs or close any facilities, or really to add any. I just want to look at the information and then make a decision, what's the best thing for our residents.
From what I've seen, the district is running pretty lean. And I don't see that there's major cuts that I would look at pursuing. I think they're doing a good job there. The revenue enhancements would be mostly related around finishing River Bend, like I said earlier, being able to do one-time events, concerts, weddings in a beautiful facility would be a huge moneymaker. Adding some extra programs at this location, being able to get the gymnastics program back up to where it was would be also a good revenue generator for the district.
In order to conclude the forum on time, we're going to take one more question from the audience. Why do you want to be a director? Mr. Rocky.
For the glory.
$100 a year.
No, I'm tied to the community. I've been on numerous boards. I've been on elementary district board for 8 years, high school district board for 8 years. I've been on Chamber of Commerce board for 3 years. I was on the ORAC committee for 2 years plus. I was on the cemetery board. So I've done a lot of board work. I'm not a micromanager, but I find that this is one of my ways of contributing to the community that I love.
Mr. Grant.
I asked myself that question. I've served 8 years on the board. I know what those meetings are like. But I've received so much from this district, in this community, and I have 5 children. I've lost 2. I have 29 grand and great-grandchildren, 2 more in the basket. They use facilities and programs that this district provides. And I'm at a retirement stage, semi, and I just feel like I have time and I owe it.
We appreciate and thank you for your thoughtful answers. It's now time for closing statements. Mr. Rocky, you may begin with your 2-minute closing statement.
Yeah, I don't think it'll take me that long, so I'll leave the rest of my time for Sunday. So, again, thanks for hosting the event. This is a board that I joined, was appointed to about 5 months ago, and I found it to be very interesting. I think there's very, very good fun times in the future, and a number of projects that I see that looks like it would be a very nice benefit for Oroville. So other than that, I said I'm doing this for fun, enjoyment, and the sense of responsibility to the community and the heritage, like Sonny said, of the next generations. And thank you, and I welcome your vote.
Mr. Grant.
I agree. I don't have a lot to add. I'm just here to do what the people want done. If they want me, that's fine. I put my name out there, and I will serve. I do have a unique history with the district and with the community. And if I'm elected, I'll do everything I can to represent each and every person in the district to the best of my ability. And that's it.
On behalf of the League of Women Voters, I want to thank all the candidates for participating in this forum for the Feather River Recreation Parks District. The audience may now applaud.